Hello, hello, hello. Hello, welcome, welcome. Welcome. As you may have noticed, or you will notice soon, there's a background noise, but just ignore that because children are playing. So, welcome everyone. In today's topic, I'm going to talk about my birth experiences and how things went. So, first of all, I always get induced when I give birth. So I've never had a birth where induction has never happened. I've always had to be induced. I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate. So basically, for me, I've never experienced giving birth without being induced. Um, okay. I don't know what normal speech means. If you can expand on that. So anyway, some of my births anyway things um I had to give birth earlier before 47 no 40 weeks, and so around 36 weeks, no 35, almost 36 weeks pregnant. uh, I had a normal appointment with a healthcare provider, and they did a scan, and they found out that there was not enough water around the baby. So that was not a good, obviously good news. Um and so they told me to just go home and look out for movement, kicks, if the baby is kicking. And if anything happens, if I feel like the baby is not kicking or anything like that, I should go back to the hospital. Basically, just keeping an eye on the movement, baby's movement. Um, so that got me really, really worried. I went home and I was drinking a lot of water, thinking maybe that's what caused a reduction of the amniotic fluid or the water around the baby or the fluid around the baby. So I was drinking a lot of water and trying to see if I can feel any movement. Now, the problem with that, um, because previously I was told that the placenta was at the front, and the baby was behind the placenta. So every time the baby kicks, the baby's kicking onto the placenta instead of directly on my belly. So it made it hard for me to feel the kicks anyway, even when things were going well. Um, So now that they're telling me to keep an eye on the movement, and oh hi, hello, hi Zach, how are you? I hope you're doing well. So it's just a storytelling tonight, and so um, it was hard for me to feel any kicks, any movement, um, and I was worried. That evening, I got home and I told my husband the news. Oh yeah, I'm okay. Thank you so much. Um, I thought I'll come on here and share some stories. So I told my husband the news, and he was just okay. I mean, to be honest, it was the evening, so he was just coming home from work, and because anything can happen, right? When there's not enough fluid around the baby. That's what I was told. Um, and I just kept trying to see if I could feel any movement, and I just couldn't feel movement at all. So I was like, what do we do? Um, because we don't know what's happening inside. I didn't know what was happening inside. How the baby was. Uh, you know, we had to come to a decision. Um, whether we could, like we were told, we could just stay home and keep an eye on the movements, and I wasn't feeling those movements, or go to the hospital. And the fact that I wasn't feeling the movements, I don't know if that was because of the way the placenta was placed, which was like in front of the baby, and baby's kicking the placenta, so I wouldn't feel the movement anyway, or it was because of the baby, maybe baby's not feeling well, and that's why the baby wasn't moving. So I didn't know. I thought the safest way. So we decided together, me and my husband, the safest way to do this is to just go to the hospital and for them to check me again, and they can do scans and whatever. So we went to the hospital that night, in the middle of the night, and they checked the baby. What you just told them, we came earlier on today for an appointment, and we were told there's not enough fluid around the baby, and we just need to keep an eye on the movements. And now I can't feel any movements. So so I was like almost 36 weeks. So I was told straight away. I was told, okay, what do you want to be induced, or what do you want, or you just want to go home and just again keep an eye on the movement? Because obviously, well, there's no point actually going home, because if you're not feeling any movement anyway now, and you've not been feeling any movement for several hours now, so there's no point of going home. If you want, you could induce you, and I said yes. So they induced me, and um, oh my gosh, that's another story. Induction. It's very painful. It's basically they give you medications and three different occasions. And the first one is supposed to obviously start the pain, start labor. And if labor doesn't happen after the first one, then they have to give you the second dose. And if that doesn't kickstart things, they have to give you the third dose. And then after that, they say, um, they have to do like C-section or something like that. But so I went through the first dose. The first dose, I didn't feel any pain, any labor pain, nothing. And then they had to give me the second dose. Every single dose when they give is actually painful, but it's supposed to be that way anyway. And then so received the second dose, nothing, didn't go into labor, and then had to be given the third dose of medication. Um, and this took 3 days. Yeah, so by the time I received the third dose of medication, I was already 36 weeks. and plus. Um, and then labor started locally after the third dose because I was thinking if this third dose of medication does not start labor, then that means I have to get C-section. I didn't want to have C-section, so I was thinking, oh no, oh I don't know. It was scary. I was very scared. Um, but last minute after the third dose, started feeling a little bit of pain, just a little bit, very uncomfortable. So it was just in the evening, really. No, to be honest, it was nighttime, and I decided to go to bed. I've ate, I've taken shower, and I'm thinking, I'm tired. I want to go bed. So I went to bed. As soon as I laid down, um, I start feeling really uncomfortable in my tummy, and then I was like, oh, what was that? So I was sleeping on one side of my body, and then it was very uncomfortable. And then so I moved, changed position to the other side of my body, my left side, and again that was very uncomfortable, and the pain kept increasing. And I thought, at this point, I didn't think it was labor pain. I thought it was just maybe tummy ache or something like that. But as the pain kept increasing, I thought, then it occurred to me, oh my, this might be it. This might be labor starting already. So I was like, okay. And the pain keeps increasing faster and faster. And um, I couldn't bear the pain. It was too much. So I had to call the healthcare provider who was taking care of me. And so they came and they checked and they said, okay, I'm not in labor yet. Yes, it's labor pain, but not there quite there yet. Um, so they asked me if I wanted any pain relief, and at first I was always conscious like, oh, I don't want to take any medication when I'm pregnant, because I don't know, I've heard stories. So I said no, no pain medication, but labor got really, really, really painful, and it was so I said, yes, I will take the medication, pain medication, but I want, I asked if it would cause anything, if it's safe for the baby and all that. And they assured me that, yes, it's safe. You don't have to worry about that. So I took some, and for some reason that didn't work. I was still in pain. So I thought I'm not taking any more because it's not working for me and I don't want to take too many. Anyway, so I had to go through the pain. Because I wasn't ready to give birth yet. Um, Things were not ready yet. So stay there, labor pain for quite a few hours, and yeah, the pain was excruciating. It was the worst pain I've ever had. And I've heard stories that those people who give birth who have to be induced to give birth, the pain is much more, is worse versus people who give birth without being induced. So the labor pain is worse than those who have not gone through induction. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. I can't compare it because I don't know the other side of it. Anyway, so I finally, it was time to give birth, and luckily things happened fast, and I was able to give birth fast. So I wasn't in labor for too long. Although some people spend hours and hours in labor, I wasn't in labor for too long. But I had to use another pain relief during labor, because the intensity of the pain just kept growing and getting stronger and stronger and stronger to the point where I couldn't take the pain anymore. And so they offered me gas and air. So I took it, you know, because I knew there's no way I was going to go through the whole thing all the way to the end without any sort of pain relief at all. So I had to take gas and air, and it worked. And it was Oh my gosh, it was amazing because it did reduce the pain to the point where I could handle the pain. Without it, I don't think I could handle the pain at all. So I used Castanet the whole time until I finally gave birth. And then it's so funny because as soon as the baby came out and all the pain went away, all the struggle, the pain, the suffering, all of the sudden ceased, went away. And I no longer felt the pain. And I'm like, wow, that is such. I didn't need Castanet anymore. I was like, well, I don't need this anymore, so I gave it back. Um, and I was like, what a relief. It was great. It was great, but and then and then something happened after that. You know, we had to go through some lows after that because the baby had a problem and um, couldn't breathe properly, and so baby had to go into NICU. Um, NICU is like the baby where newborns are born and they're not feeling well, they're quite sick, poorly, so they have to be taken into the NICU, which is like the um NICU. What do you call it? It's like intensive care ward. Um, and then had to be put into the incubator and being treated and all that. So I had to, after giving birth, we had to spend like 2 weeks in a hospital. So because the baby wasn't well and it was horrible. It was horrible. I couldn't stay with my baby after giving birth, so I couldn't like do the skin to skin thing they say properly. And I was in one side of the hospital. My baby was in another side of the hospital, and I was going to visit back and forth multiple times a day and night, breastfeeding, taking milk, and all that. So it was very emotional, um, traumatic, and but anyway, by the time the baby was born, baby was like almost 37 weeks. I was almost 37 weeks pregnant by the time baby was born. So I was worried about the fact that baby was going to be born premature, and baby was born premature a little bit, but not that bad because some babies are born extremely premature. So 2 weeks later, we were all able to be discharged. Baby was fine, feeling better, ready to be discharged. And finally, that's when we all finally breathed. We all finally felt, we're home now. We can start our lives together. And yeah, so that was a traumatic time, being in the hospital, especially when baby was poorly after birth. It was really hard to watch, to look at the baby and just imagining, little newborns not feeling well. So I did, well, we came home and all was fine, and yeah, baby was thriving from that point on, thriving big time. And now, obviously, this wasn't any more problem after that. So that was just one birth. There are others, but I would share those in another video. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. You're welcome.